Welcome back to the Taranis QX7 series of videos. As always, look in the description for the link to it. Now let's talk about failsafes, and more importantly, how to get rid of that failsafe warning message once you power this on.
Hey JC, welcome back.
That one. So let me go ahead and explain that I hate failsafes. I know guys watch my videos and the video won't even be about failsafes. They'll just notice that I don't have a failsafe set and they're like, oh my god, JC, you don't have a failsafe set. What are you thinking? And I'm thinking that failsafes have hurt me way more than they have helped me, and that's why I don't use it whatsoever. But I also want to add to this that this channel revolves mostly around freestyle flying and racing multirotors. Failsafe is a good thing for your large GPS multirotors. For example, I use iNav with my very large hexacopters and octocopters, and failsafe is very good because they have self-leveling, they have self-hovering, they have GPS modules, magnetometers. Once I fly too far away, it's going to stop itself, turn itself around, fly back to me, and land right at my feet. Kind of like a DJI Phantom or something like that. Or if you have an airplane, failsafes would be great for that. So I just want you guys to keep in mind, no matter how much hate I give failsafes throughout this video, just remember that I'm only referring to racing multirotors. Because for a racing multirotor, it's going to hurt you more than it helps you, and I'm going to explain why. But even with how much I hate failsafes, I'm still going to walk you through all the different ways of setting it up. Aren't I so nice? So, you have three different ways of setting failsafe. You can do it through the QX7 itself, you can do it through your receiver, or you can do it through Betaflight. As far as the QX7, if we hit the menu button to go to our model, page over once, scroll up, which will bring us to the bottom of the page, and then go to failsafe, and we see that it's not set. For this reason, that's why we get that warning message once we power this on. Our other options are going to be hold, custom, no pulses, or receiver. Not set means that you have no failsafe set, and once you hit failsafe, well, let's talk about what makes you failsafe. Obviously, if you fly too far away, then you will failsafe. But sometimes, if there's too many objects in between you and the multirotor, like a building, then that can make you failsafe. Or if there's a lot of RF interference. So this is going to do nothing. Once it failsafes, the multirotor will just fall to the ground, which is what I like and what I prefer for my racing multirotors. Then you have hold. This is going to hold the last position of not just the sticks, but all switches whenever it failsafed. So if I have my switches in Acro flight mode, or, that's a bad example because I don't use a switch for that. Let's just talk about the sticks. Say I have the throttle at about 40 to 50% and I'm in the middle of a roll when I hit that failsafe. It's going to hold my throttle at 40% and it's going to hold my stick in a roll, and the multirotor is just going to keep rolling and rolling until it eventually crashes into the ground. Then, if you still haven't regained signal yet, the motors are going to keep spinning and it's going to dig a hole to China with your props. I'm sure you've seen a lot of pictures online of guys doing this. It's pretty funny, actually. Now let's say, what if I'm doing 100% throttle, about to do a really sweet power loop over some trees or something, and then I failsafe? Well, it's going to hold it at 100% throttle, and that's what's called a flyaway. You will never see your multirotor again, because it's going to keep it at 100% throttle until either you regain signal, which isn't going to happen because it's flying away from you, or until the battery runs out. And by that time, it's long gone. You'll never find it again. This one could be useful, but the only time I can see it being useful is if you use the angle flight mode. Or if you just have a full-blown GPS multirotor, it would be great for that too. So if I move my throttle, we see this bar on channel 3 moving, so that means channel 3 is my throttle. What you could do is press this, and let's just say we use our on-screen display to find out at what percentage of throttle it takes to make it hover. And let's just say it's about 30%. So I'm going to put my stick to 30%, and then I can move this, and that black bar is going to move, and then I could set it right there, press enter. Now once it failsafes, it's going to hold the motor speed at about 30% throttle, just for this example. And if you are flying in angled flight mode, then it's going to self-level, and it's going to hold itself in place until you can regain signal. So yeah, Failsafe could be good for that. But once again, this is a racing and freestyle flying channel. Most of us are using Acro flight mode. If you use Acro flight mode, holding your throttle at 30% is not going to do anything for you, because it's not going to self-level. It's going to keep tumbling until it hits the ground and digs a hole to China. Next up, we have no pulses, which is the one that I like. It's the same exact thing as not set. The only difference is no pulses is going to get rid of that warning message once you power this on. So once I failsafe, it's just going to drop to the ground, and that's it. It's not going to fly away. It's not going to dig a hole to China. It's not going to do anything. Then we have receiver, which is the other way of setting your failsafe. With the FreeSky receivers, not all of them, but the majority, you can actually set up the same failsafe settings through the receiver itself. Many guys have requested for me to make these videos, but for those of us using the Taranis, either the QX7 or the X9D, I don't see any reason in doing this, because we can set up our failsafe settings through the transmitter itself. Therefore, doing it through the receiver is not needed. The only time I could see receiver being used is if you have a transmitter besides a Taranis, like a different brand, and you're using a FreeSky module to allow you to use FreeSky receivers, then that could be beneficial. But for those of us using the Taranis, I can't find not even one reason of why we would want to do it through the receiver. So I'm just going to set this to no pulses, and now let's go into Betaflight and look at its options. First, you want to enable expert mode, so you can be able to see the failsafe tab. Then come over here. By default, it's set to failsafe, enable failsafe stage 2. You can also create a switch for failsafe should you want to do that for whatever reason. I mean, I do that on my large multirotor builds. If I want it to just come back to me, then I can just flip a switch, but we're not talking about that right now. And by default, it's set to just drop, which is what I like. Now, your other option is land, and once again, you would have to use an on-screen display to find out what percentage of throttle you use for it to hover, and then go a little bit below that. So let's say we'll just say 1400 is hover, so I would set this to, like, I don't know, 1250 or something like that. So this way, once I failsafe, it's going to, the motors will go to the value of 1250, and it will slowly hover its way down to the ground for a certain amount of time. 1 equals 1/10 of a second, so that means 10 equals 1 second. 100 will be 10 seconds. The problems with this, though, is, once again, if you are using the Acro flight mode, this will not be beneficial at all, because yeah, your motors will go to 1250 or whatever you set it to for however many seconds, but it's not self-leveling, so it's just going to tumble and tumble at that throttle value until it hits the ground and digs a hole to China. Another problem is if you set this incorrectly, say it actually hovers at 1300 and you don't know how to set this, and you set this to 1500. Well, that's above hover, so it's going to actually increase throttle and fly away from you. At least for however many seconds. I mean, this is better than other ways of doing it, to where you can't set the amount of time, because in those other cases, it's just going to keep flying away from you forever. Assuming you are using angle flight mode. Now, if you have Acro set up and this is above hover, then you don't have to worry, because it's still gonna tumble to the ground, just the motors will be spinning faster than they would be if it was below hover. Another problem is, say you actually are using angle flight mode and you have this set to 5 seconds and you're 10 feet off the ground. You failsafe, it slowly hovers its way down to the ground for 5 seconds, and then it shuts the motors off. But what if you are 400 feet in the air? Well, it's going to slowly hover down for, say, I don't know, 5-10 seconds, wherever you set it to, and then it's going to drop anyway. So just to reiterate, failsafe isn't a bad thing for other applications, but for those of us who are racing and freestyle flying, there is no benefit to it whatsoever, especially if you use Acro flight mode. You might be able to use it if you use angle, but once again, not many of us are, so just be safe, don't dig any holes to China, and don't have any flyaways and never see it again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.